How's it going, Internet? How's it going? Welcome to Teal Hat Radio. I am your host, and the thought occurred to me that I could do this the old-fashioned way like I did back in 2017, 2018 with my old podcast, Red Flannel Radio, but the thing is, I was hosting that on SoundCloud, and SoundCloud seems to have a bit more relaxed attitude towards having song clips in your podcast. Like, obviously, the whole song is up for debate, although it doesn't stop a few people from doing it anyway, I noticed. But, unless it's your song, that's what I mean to say. Unless it's your song, posting somebody else's work from start to finish is probably not smiled upon there in SoundCloud land, but it doesn't stop a few people from doing it anyway. But little sound clips like what you heard at the beginning would be fine there. Not on YouTube so much. Yeah, YouTube is very anal about copyright, very anal about, however you use anything. Like, it's genuinely amazing that abridged series are still a thing on YouTube, the way they are cracking down on stuff, but I'll let somebody who's, smart talk about that one for a while, because that's not my arena. I decided, maybe we should have a dedicated theme song for this show, and New Room, New View, the official entrance music of Paul White, seems to fit this show pretty well, I think. Even if it doesn't fit the show, I just like the song, so fuck you. I'm joking. Don't get mad at me for it. So, how's it going? How you been doing? Talk to me in the comment box here. I look at the comments, contrary to popular belief, assuming there is any popular belief, but I'd just like to hear what are you up to, We got some topics to discuss here. Some are interesting, some are probably not. I guess we won't know until we try, right? So let me just open my file here and have a look. Okay, I don't know how much mileage I'm going to get out of this, but I honestly thought I deleted this off of the list, but why not? Let's talk about it here. Mike Richards is no longer hosting Jeopardy! And I know for a fact that there's this big hullabaloo on Twitter about how the tryouts were rigged and LeVar Burton was never going to get it, and certain other accusations might have been thrown around because it's Twitter and it's the 2020s and we always have to go there. But honestly, I don't give a shit about Jeopardy! I don't hate Jeopardy! If there's nothing else on worth watching and I see Jeopardy is on, maybe I'll tune in and veg out on the couch and watch that, but I don't really like Jeopardy either. It is what it is. Jeopardy is a game show. It's like the bare bones of a game show, and the only real gimmick they have is, instead of asking a question and you answering, they give you an answer and you have to answer the answer in the form of a question. That's basically Jeopardy in a nutshell. It's a weird gimmick, but it's apparently lasted them, God, how long has Jeopardy been on? 60 years now? Maybe even more? I don't know, man. It's just, Jeopardy has been around forever, and I don't hate Jeopardy, but honestly, if we're talking about the game shows, the big three game shows, Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, and The Price is Right, I'm going to have to go with Wheel of Fortune as my favorite. I mean, Wheel of Fortune is fun. You spin a wheel. You solve a puzzle. You get prizes. Jeopardy! You stand at a podium. You answer questions in the form of a question. If you're really bad at trivia and you have enough money to spend, you can write down something really stupid on the final Jeopardy question. I can't remember the question anymore, but I distinctly remember finding a YouTube clip where somebody wrote, "What is the Ballad of Turd Ferguson?" Celebrity Jeopardy on Saturday Night Live is probably my favorite sketch that they did in the early 2000s. That was probably the best Jeopardy-related thing I'd ever seen. But, yeah, I'm just not really into Jeopardy, but suppose you are into Jeopardy. Suppose Jeopardy is your life. What are your thoughts on that? Leave it in the comment box, and maybe we can have a little bit of a dialogue here. Just, for the love of God, don't go into name-calling, please. It's just, try to conduct yourself as an adult, is what I'm trying to say on that matter. And that's about all I got to say on that issue personally. Now let's have a look here and see what else we can find. Okay, I actually do want to talk about this before we get too far into anything else. This is actually a topic I've been wanting to talk about all week, and I've been saving for the podcast. But you probably saw this already, maybe. I don't know. But there is a person who made a post to Twitter, and they were asking about green flag movies. You know, the kind of movies that say, you know, if I like this movie, it means you can trust me. I'm a cool dude, etc., etc. And a lot of people retweeted and quote tweeted this post and seemed to miss the point of the question entirely, but at the same time, the topic did kind of generate a lot of interest because obviously asking about green flag movies implied heavily that there were red flag movies. And what are red flag movies? Well, aside from the fact that, duh, they're obviously the opposite of green flag movies, like the kind of movies that say, if you like this movie, then clearly you're a misogynist, or you're a Trump supporter, or you're an asshole who basically needs to be loaded into a cannon and shot into the sun. Aside from that, what are examples of red flag movies? And of course, because it's 2021, everybody says Fight Club, they say The Joker, and they say all these other movies. And I can't speak for all the movies that were listed, because I only ever saw, like, 3 or 4, and, you know, it's like, I think it was Bennett the Sage, who's a YouTuber who talks about anime a lot, but I saw his response to the tweet, and it summed up my belief so well at the time, that movies are not a good method of judging someone's character, because you can like movies with problematic characters and still be a decent human being. If anything, the problematic characters basically teach us how not to behave in public, is the way I interpret it. So, you know, I look at the Joker and, you know, I look at the man who's going through this chaotic mess that ultimately results in him going insane and taking a pistol to a fucking talk show and shooting several people in the audience and shooting the host. And I'm like, okay, that's horrible. That is a disgusting act. And even if the man clearly had a rough go at life, you know, that's still no way to behave. You know, that's not justifying anything right there. I don't want to take my gun to Late Night with Stephen Colbert. That's, you know, that doesn't inspire that thought in my head. And it doesn't inspire that thought in a lot of other people's heads. Maybe a couple, but those people were already far gone before they saw Joker. And those people were already far gone before they saw Fight Club, you know. I'm not saying problematic people don't like problematic movies, but I'm saying not everybody who likes problematic movies are problematic people, you know. I like Fight Club, but I'm not about to join the Space Monkeys and blow up a credit card company, you know. I'm not about to shave all the hair off my head and start throwing up the Zeke Heil and voting for Donald Trump in the next election. God, I hope he doesn't run in 2024. But, you know, I'm not about to do that. I understand what the movie is trying to tell me, and I'm not going to do that because I'm not stupid. You know, I'm not the kind of guy who watches Fight Club and then immediately wants to join a cult. You know, I'm not the kind of guy who watches Joker and immediately wants to take his dad's AR-15 to Walmart. You know, I'm not that guy. And it just seems like such a bad idea to base your entire judgment on the movies that some people like. Otherwise, I would have no friends right now, because all the friends that I did have in high school were absolutely hardcore in love with Napoleon Dynamite, and if I were using this logic, I wouldn't be friends with them. Napoleon Dynamite would be a red flag movie for me, because I watched Napoleon Dynamite. Napoleon Dynamite is fucking stupid, and it's the worst movie I think I'd ever seen that year. Maybe even that whole decade. I don't understand why people like this movie. It's not funny, it's not endearing, it's stupid. And I don't want to associate with anybody who likes this movie, because they are Napoleon Dynamite, and they are the kind of dudes who, you know, by red flag logic, they're the kind of dudes who Talk about shooting Wolverines in Alaska with their dad, poor Wolverines. They don't deserve to be shot. I don't want to hang out with this motherfucker. And he's putting tater tots in his pocket. Who does that? Who puts tater tots in their pocket and eats them during class? You're not supposed to have food in class, man. I thought that was just a given. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about this a little too hard, but it does bring up the topic of what constitutes a red flag movie, because that's one of those things that's up for interpretation, Fight Club gets a bum rap because a lot of the hard right kind of adopted some Fight Club slang into their vernacular. The QAnons use stuff like where we go one, we go all. I don't think that's a Fight Club line. You'll have to excuse me, it's been a few years since I've seen Fight Club, but they adopted a few slang terms from Fight Club into their common vernacular, and they call their enemies snowflakes, all that stuff. And it's like, maybe, but like, red flag movies are so subjective. The concept of a red flag movie is subjective, In my example, it was Napoleon Dynamite. In their example, it was Fight Club. In some other podcaster's land of nonsense and mayhem, wherever they're talking about, I don't know, Boss Baby is probably a red flag movie because the Boss Baby is an allegory for Donald Trump or something like that. Oh, God, I'm so sorry about that. That did not want to stay down. I could edit that out like a professional, but I'm not gonna. It's like, this concept is subjective, and so are green flag movies, like a movie that says, I can trust this guy. This guy is smart. I know what he's talking about. It's like, what's a green flag movie? It'd probably be like the most harmless, fluffy fucking movie ever made. So, off the top of my head, I don't know, maybe a Pixar movie would be like a green flag movie. Maybe maybe Disney is probably trying to make green flag movies that, like, oh, hey, you like this movie, it means you're woke, But, no, it's like, the red and green flag movies are subjective to me. I'm trying not to repeat myself over and over again, but the words just escape me. It's like, we shouldn't be doing this, We should be judging people on the merit of their character, not by what movies they like, not by what video games they like, not by what books they like. Like, okay, it does kind of factor into how well you're going to get along with that person. Like, I'm friends with plenty of people who don't like Star Wars, though. And I'm friends with a few people who are in love with Star Trek, and frankly, I could care less about Star Trek. I barely know anything about it outside of the Borg and the Q and Captain Janeway and Picard and Kirk, and that's about it. I don't care. But I'm not going to ride their ass because they like Star Trek, and they've decided they're not going to ride my ass because I like Star Wars. Even with the way the current trilogy with The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker have turned out, they're not going to ride my ass because I like The Last Jedi. And that's pretty good, it's like, that might be somebody else's criteria right there. Somebody might say that The Last Jedi is a red flag movie because if you like The Last Jedi, then clearly you're a communist. I kind of remember somebody kind of had this big chain where, like, if you like The Last Jedi, it means you support Disney. And if you support Disney, that means you support China. And if you support China, you support communism. Therefore, if you support The Last Jedi, you support communism. And that could be a red flag statement in some people's cases, but me personally, that is, like, setting aside the whole red flag movie conversation for just a second, that's just chaos right there. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. This isn't exactly a 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon here. I mean, I can like The Last Jedi and not support communism, but somebody would say that, and then somebody would use the whole concept of red flag movies to judge you based on the fact that you like this movie. Therefore, well, clearly you support communism, which is kind of a jump. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too hard about this. But it is an interesting topic, and what do you think are some red flag movies? What do you think are some green flag movies? I'd like to hear this. Leave a comment and tell me what you think would be a perfect example of a red flag movie or a green flag movie. Maybe I'll agree with you, maybe I won't agree with you, maybe I'll leave it alone. This is a topic I think we should be discussing, and I'd like to hear your feedback on it. What do you say? Leave a comment. That's pretty much the big topic I have right now. I mean, the only other big thing I have to talk about is Tony Hawk apparently came out with a blood-infused skateboard, which is basically, it looks like a standard skateboard, but I am assured that blood was incorporated into the paint job, which makes it go faster, or it makes it ollie more accurately or something. I don't know. I don't know what this is supposed to accomplish other than contribute to the shock value. I know for a fact that all the Lil Nas X stands and Lil Nas X himself have all gone on topic basically saying, oh, okay, it makes perfect sense when Straight-O McWhitey over here does a blood-infused product, but when I do it, suddenly I'm sinning against God. And, I'm not sure what I know what the argument is. I mean, the big argument is hypocrisy, because Lil Nas X came out with Satan shoes back in April, and they had blood in the paint job of those shoes. And the clergy lost their shit over it because it's the evangelical right. All you got to do is advertise Satan, and they immediately jump on board to fight it. Hell, you don't even have to advertise Satan. You just kind of have to leave it wide open for interpretation that Satan might be involved. I mean, look at Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, look at Harry Potter. Look at Pokemon. I think the church even opposed Pokemon at one point. Something about false idols or something. I mean, look at the Da Vinci Code. I mean, it wasn't even that good of a movie, but it got the clergy all upset, and the fact the clergy got upset means people like me were going to be like, yeah, I'm going to go see this movie in spite of you. It's like all the women who went to go see Ghostbusters 2016 and said, it's not a good movie, but I went and saw it anyway because I'm a strong, independent woman who won't let the man tell me what to do. And it's like, well, I would criticize, but that's the exact same logic I used going into the Da Vinci Code, is that, yeah, it wasn't a good movie, but I went to see it anyway because I'm not going to let the church fucking dictate my life. Fuck you, Reverend. I'm pretty sure I was talking about something else a minute ago. Oh yeah, the Satan shoes. Lil Nas X made Satan shoes. The clergy got mad. Tony Hawk then put out blood-infused skateboards. The clergy has, near as I can tell, stayed relatively silent. And everybody's like, oh, I see how it is. And it's mostly about the hypocrisy that one person can do it and everybody loses their shit, but then another person does it and it's perfectly okay. And I'm not saying it goes into a race debate, but in some obscure corners of Twitter it probably does because it's Twitter. But for the most part, it's about the hypocrisy. And to me, I do see what they're talking about with the hypocrisy, that, like, yeah, one guy does blood-infused shit and it's acceptable, and then another guy does. It's not acceptable. But for me, it isn't really about hypocrisy so much as it is about the law of diminishing returns. Because when the first guy did it, it was shocking. It was, oh my god, why would you ever do that? That is horrifying. And then several months later, another guy does it with his thing, puts blood in the paint of a skateboard, and it's like, yeah, seen it. That's basically what it is to me. But then again, I don't really care about either one. I've never been a fan of Lil Nas X. It's nothing against the guy himself necessarily. It's just that it sounds like literally everything else in the rap genre, his music. It just sounds like everything else. It has the same fucking instrument kit, He mumbles. It has that obnoxious little snare not snare, cymbal, little cymbal roll that every fucking rap beat has, and I don't try to zero in on it, but I zero in on it, and it drives me insane. And all that. It sounds like everything else. Maybe it's because I'm an old-ass, ancient millennial who remembers when rappers enunciated and all the corny rap began with, my name is da-da-da, I'm here to say, na-na-na. Yeah, if you begin your rap with, my name is whatever and I'm here to say, your rap is officially garbage. But not so much the modern day, though, because, it kind of has that corny 80s, white people trying to be hip, like trying to relate to the kids kind of lame. Whereas I can't get into anything in rap right now because it's all mumbling kids, Gucci products, the same fucking Fruity Loops studio beats, just I can't get into it. And you think I'm going to side with Tony Hawk? No, I'm not into Tony Hawk either. Like, I've never been a fan of skateboards and skateboarders. I mean, these people ruined the punk rock genre. They ruined the effort to legalize marijuana for years. I'm pretty sure they also ruined energy drinks for a while. They definitely tried to ruin the Olympics this year by making skateboarding an Olympic event. Don't even get me started on that. We'll be here all day. That would require its own podcast entirely. I don't understand why people like skateboarding at all. Like, if it's about getting a workout, fine, but like in terms of like a competitive sport, it just looks like dudes going up and down, up and down, up and down the half pipe, and maybe they do a flip, maybe they do a twist, maybe they do some sort of corkscrew move, and I guess it looks cool. I guess you could say it's a form of gymnastics, but like, I don't know. I just look at skater culture and it's just not for me. It's like, skater culture thrives entirely on assimilating other cultures and making it lame. Like, they took the punk rock genre and they made the Sex Pistols and the Ramones and they diluted it down to Blink 182. They took energy drinks, something that's delicious and keeps me awake, and it's a fine alternative to coffee, depending on the energy drink. And then they turned it into this thing where, like, if you drink it, you can bang your head against drywall, and you can enjoy Five Finger Death Punch more thoroughly or something. And now it's an Olympic event. You got, like, Tony Hawk hanging out with Suni Lee, and that swimmer guy, Michael Phelps. No, I'm not buying it. So, I guess basically what I'm trying to say is I don't like Tony Hawk. I don't like Lil Nas X. I'm not interested in this debate a whole lot, but it is an interesting topic. Maybe not as interesting as Red Flag Cinema, but what do you think? I know I'm kind of whoring this podcast out a lot for comments and whatnot, but I don't know. I just want to see what you think. There's really not a whole lot else to talk about today. I mean, a lot of my Twitter has consisted mostly of people, every third tweet, in fact, basically talking about Spider-Man, and the third tweeters who aren't talking about Spider-Man are talking about Batman. And I remember a time when I could be just as excited and enthusiastic about it as they were. Like, oh my god, the new Batman movie is going to be so awesome. Oh my god, the new Spider-Man movie is going to be so awesome. That was before I got burnt out on superhero movies as a whole. And the worst thing I could say about Marvel movies is that they were starting to look a little cookie cutter. Like, they could literally use this exact same plot for every superhero and it wouldn't matter so much. DC had the unfortunate problem of having Zack Snyder being at the helm of a lot of the movies, and I don't care what anybody says, I hate Zack Snyder movies. I'm pretty sure, at absolute most, I would say The Watchmen was a fluke. And that's about as far as I'm going to go on that topic for now. The point I'm getting at overall is that there's a lot of superhero talk on my Tommy Teal Hat Twitter. So I haven't really been looking there a lot. I haven't been posting there a lot this last couple days because I can only handle so much talk about Spider-Man and Batman and superheroes before it gets boring after a while. But maybe that'll change this week, or maybe it'll get worse. Guess we won't find out for sure. I guess we'll find out for sure when the week actually happens. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Teal Hat Radio. I hope you enjoy. I hope I've given you some stuff to think about, some stuff to talk about. As always, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on the various platforms, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Podbean, etc. If you're on YouTube, you can follow me here on YouTube, Tommy Teal Hat. And I'll see you next time.